The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi! Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Live from Canada, Dave Scott, the expert on the UFO files, which were just released last Friday and before. He's gone through many of them, studied the videos, has an update for us. Dave Scott, the other side of midnight, welcome to the Red Apple Audio Networks. Hey, Dave. Hi.
Hi, I'm Dave. Nice to meet you, Walter.
Thank you, sir.
I had a conversation earlier this evening on my radio show, Spaced Out Radio, with a gentleman named Mark Christopher Lee. Now, when we started going on the air on the Red Apple Audio Networks, we really started talking about his work, where he was stating that, come the Roswell incident, that there was a speech that Donald Trump was going to make. I asked him about that speech tonight because of the UFO files that have been released. And he basically stated that he believes that sometime during the World Cup of Soccer, when all eyes are on the United States, Trump is supposed to be jumping on the podium saying that Roswell was real. That's what he believes is going to happen, that we got a crash retrieval, that we got aliens, that we are not alone in the universe. He is still quite steadfast over this fact. And he has proven, even though he was raked over the coals by the UFO media, the UFO people on platforms like X, that he was actually quite right. He stated that we should see something by May 8th. Guess what happened May 8th? The first tranche of files were released. So I'm buying this guy's story that there could be an announcement from President Trump that Roswell was real, and the fact that we are not alone in the universe. That could be coming.
I don't see why it wouldn't be coming. I don't understand why it hasn't come out already. Do you have any theories on that?
I have theories that there is still a big battle going on in between Washington, D.C., between the pro-UFO disclosure crowd and the anti-UFO disclosure crowd. And I believe a lot of it ties to the fact that, with the Republicans holding, all the cards right now, a lot of Republicans are very Christian. They feel like Vice President J.D. Vance, that there are some sort of demonic entities that are tied to this UFO story and scenario, that anything that comes from the sky could be demonic and from the devil himself, causing some sort of interaction that is only out of the book of Revelation. But that being said, people have been saying aliens have been here for millennia. You go to the Egyptian hieroglyphics, there's pictures of aliens and spacecraft that are there. Okay? If that was the case, that aliens were evil, that aliens were bad for humanity, I think they would have taken us when our best weapons were a bow and arrow and a spear, and not things that could shoot down their craft.
Or they did take us when we had a bow and arrow and a spear and started a new race of humans, or returned us.
Well, there are many who believe that there is some sort of hybridization program going on, that maybe the big secret that we are going to learn is that, aliens planted us here as some sort of human hybrid race, because we look awfully familiar to many of them, whether it's the Nordic beings that are quite humanoid looking, the Pleiadians that are looking very humanoid, even the alien grays with the bulbous head, the big black eyes that never seem to have nipples or a belly button. Well, they seem to kind of look humanoid as well. So there is that theory going around. You're not wrong.
Now, what else do you think is going to be revealed in this tranche, and what are some of the other things that arrived on Friday? Take your time. We want to hear about all of these files.
Well, there were 46 new videos that were released, okay? And that is a big story because that puts a total of new videos over 60 that we have seen. Now, a lot of the videos I do not believe are UFOs. They are unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP, that seem to be happening in military zones, or the aliens just have some sort of affinity for watching war zones happen and play out in real time. I don't believe that it is alien. I believe that a lot of it that we are seeing is American technology, much like we talked last night about the F-16 shooting down the balloon over Lake Huron. That was released in the video tranche. One other interesting point to the files that I really liked, and Mark Christopher Lee brought it up on my show again tonight, was the fact that they were talking about a lot of World War II sightings and reports from World War II about Foo Fighters, where these orangish, reddish, sometimes purple orbs would be flying around our planes, our bombers, while we were in war zones, going into action, into combat, and they seem to have these interactions with the Foo Fighters. Now, we're not talking Dave Grohl's band here. We're talking about these weird, strange orbs that seem to circle around and have free will of the sky to make strange turns, to make, very high-speed passes, when at that time there was no aircraft that could do such moves. And even today, there are very few aircraft that could make these moves. So if you're a World War II buff, about history, about especially the planes that were used, like the B-17 bomber or the P-51 Mustang, and many more beautiful airplanes that were used during that time. There is interesting information about these real-time Foo Fighter sightings.
And what do you think's coming up? What videos do you think we have to look forward to?
I don't think we're getting anything special in the videos if they do release anymore. Look, what we want, and I think this is going to really impact the American people, what we need close-up videos in color, not from FLIR cameras that look like Grandma and Grandpa's old television set that had rabbit ears. We don't want that anymore. And I think what's going to happen over time, if they keep releasing these videos that look like dots in the sky or little round objects that you can't tell what they are, I think they're going to lose the faith of the media and the American public. I think what we need to start seeing is some color videos, maybe up close and personal, of what these craft actually look like, that have been verified by the U.S. government as UFOs, that we do not understand their technologies, we don't understand. And even, we hear these politicians talking about these videos where you can actually see what they call the pilots of the craft. I want to see that.
I want to see it too. But let me suggest a horrible theory, which is what we're seeing now, we're just going to see more of the same. They don't have anything else.
Oh, I think they have everything else, but I just don't think they're ready and willing to release it to us just yet.
Well, I hope you're right, because it would be an exciting show. Now, the thing that keeps getting minimized, and we've discussed this before, but I think it's worth repeating, the real story keeps getting buried. The real story is, for the first time in our lifetimes, times two, the United States government is acknowledging that these files exist. Up until now, part of the speculation about what was in the sky was, does the U.S. government have any facts? That was part of the speculation. We just kept assuming repeatedly that they had stuff, that they had files, they had photographs, but they never acknowledged that that was true. This is the first time that they've acknowledged it's true, and that means two things. One, we're going to start to hound them for more at an accelerated rate than they are prepared for. And two, they can participate in the conversation. All those NDAs that astronauts signed and Apollo workers signed and NASA people signed, to me, those NDAs are worthless, because a piece of those NDAs said that you won't talk about the existence of these files. Well, sorry, they've revealed the files. Now they can talk about the existence.
Absolutely. And the media also needs to jump on board with more direct questions, not just the same lame questions they've been asking. Why hasn't anybody gone up to Buzz Aldrin? He's still alive. In the first tranche, it was noted how Apollo 11 had some strange anomalies cited by Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. And, why the name is passing me, the gentleman who is in the LEM right now, Michael Collins. Okay? Why not go up to Buzz Aldrin? He's the only one of that crew who's alive. Let's hear his story. Why not talk about it? Now, maybe people have approached him and he's declined interviews, but that's still a story.
It is a story. It is a story, and that'll be my project for tomorrow. But here's the thing. Now I forgot what I was going to say. I can't believe a professional talk show host actually forgot what he was going to say.
Well, leading on that, though, I mean, the media still has not jumped on NASA, lying for all these years to the American public. I mean, it was just a couple of years ago where NASA put out a $100,000 study where they brought in all of these scientists to go through the UFO files. And the big thing that they noticed in going through NASA's files was there was nothing. Well, now we're finding out that there was, and there is. Why hasn't the media gone after them?
You're asking for a lot from the media, and here's what I remembered now. Behind our president about 2 weeks ago was the Artemis crew. The members of the Artemis crew, they stood behind him. And the media sitting in front of them asked them nothing. Didn't ask them anything. And the president kept going, do you guys want to ask these astronauts any questions about the far side of the moon? And no one wanted to ask them any questions. Now, if standing there are the current astronauts and they had no questions for them about the far side of the moon, I think it's a big stretch for somebody to dig up Buzz Aldrin.
Well, you're probably right on that one, but we need more directed and pointed questions being asked. That's where we're going to get the answers. And I'm a firm believer that, even if they deny any of these questions, it's still a good scenario and a good track record to put these people on record, to see if they are going to continue lying about it. That's
absolutely.
The big one.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to sum up there, Mr. Scott?
Yes, we have an update on the retired U.S. Major General Neil McCaslin.
Yes. Neil McCaslin, who disappeared from his home about a month ago. A Major General, 11 in the morning, goes out, never comes back. What's the update?
Well, the update was, just to kind of correct you a little bit, and I apologize for doing that. It is today is actually 3 months since he has been missing, where he just vanished into thin air. Now, Albuquerque police have released a statement from an unknown friend, a woman who had dinner with McCaslin the night before he vanished without a trace. She goes on to say, in quotes, we went for dinner Thursday evening at Cervantes off of Gibson's, and at 6 o'clock was Space Force. And what I noticed, I was shocked this morning when I saw the alert, because what I noticed Thursday evening is that he wasn't his usual self. He was kind of spacey and quiet. And what that happens with people. Now, I don't really know what that fully means, but it is interesting that somebody who he worked closely with and with Space Force were involved in a dinner the night before he vanished, and they seem to have been caught off guard by the way he was acting.
Were they having an affair?
I don't think so. I think if members of Space Force were there, I believe it would have been some sort of official dinner. And just to reiterate, McCaslin was somebody who had what I like to call a billion-dollar brain. This guy knew and ran the programs at places like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base of some of the United States' top secrets for military aircraft, for direct energy weapons, and all sorts of technology. This guy,
Dave,
was the real deal. Yes,
Dave. It's the other side of midnight. Red Apple Audio Network. Your appearance tonight about the UFO files that were released recently, and how we find your show.
Absolutely, Walter. Thank you. We're still waiting on when the next tranche is going to be released. We're hoping, maybe not this week, but next week, that we could get a third tranche of information. But go look for the Foo Fighter comments and check out the videos and tell us what you see. You can find me at spacedoutradio.com. I'd love it if you went and subscribed to my YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and you can download my show for free on any major podcast network, including Spotify.
The great Dave Scott, Walter Sterling.